Hi, and welcome today to episode. Good. Welcome to episode number 50 of Celebrity Customer Experience with me, Jill Raff, where we riff on anything and everything from employee experience to customer experience, because I believe that employee experience will create an outstanding customer experience. And today we're celebrating my number 50 episode. And I'm so excited to have everyone join us, and including everyone in Clubhouse. So, a little bit of history on how the Celebrity Customer Experience show started. And we're going live here. We're live on Clubhouse. We're live on Instagram. I'm sorry, not Instagram. We're live on LinkedIn, Facebook, and YouTube. So I want everyone who just joined in Clubhouse to understand what's going on. We are going to keep it at audio only right now. Dom, thanks for muting your mic there for a minute. And we're going to just have a retrospective, a celebration of episode 50 with all of the amazing employee experience, customer experience experts from the hospitality fields, from the restaurant industry, from the CX space itself. And I'm going to share with you some of the tips and takeaways from some of the guests that join me. Normally, I have a guest on Thursdays where we participate in the interview at this part of the Clubhouse portion of the room, and then we come back to Clubhouse to open it up for conversation. So what we're going to do today, and I encourage everyone on Clubhouse to just take some notes and any questions, because I will be coming to you shortly. So I'm going to give a little history about how this got started, why, and then we're going to jump in with some highlights and celebration of all the people who have joined me here. So this live show wasn't officially a live show. It was a live stream celebrating those businesses who were having a hard time. COVID hit. It was March. I have clients in the restaurant industry and really serve the restaurant and hospitality industries. And I felt so frustrated and helpless. And I thought, what else can I do to try to help in some way during this time of COVID, the shutdown? Everybody was shut down at this point. And I remembered that I had the benefit of having already been approved for LinkedIn Lives. So I thought, what greater way than to share my stage with those who are making those shifts, making those changes, doing what they needed to do to stay alive, to help their people, their employees through this process, and at the same time to shine a light on them so that we could hopefully bring business to them more, and those others who had businesses similar to them could learn what they're doing as a mentorship to guide them through. So I started out, my first guest was Chef Tim the girl, she's known as Chef Tim McDermott in San Antonio, and she was amazing, and she was strung out and exhausted, but she was amazing. Her fortitude, her commitment to her people during this time where she had to lay everyone off, and she saw the full shutdown and what was coming. She had the insight to recognize that if I let my people go now, they will be able to start collecting unemployment, and have them set up in a way that she could keep the few core people she needed, but also be able to pull in on those others, keep them going so that when she needed them, they could come back. This was very insightful. And basically, she said she was just trim. And I think that's something that we can learn even now. It's crazy, a year later, that I think is not going away. And when we come back to conversation in Clubhouse, I'd love to hear everyone's thoughts about that, because what she told me a year ago when this was all beginning is that she had to immediately cut the extra fat. And no pun intended in the food industry, but she realized that she needed to remove ingredients that weren't important. She went line by line and looked at her line item cost of what was a hard cost, what was fixed, what was something that maybe not be important right now, and where can I trim it? And so maybe extra subscriptions. And I would suggest to everyone listening today that even now, if you probably have done a lot of this during COVID, I think that is what we've all had to do. And I think businesses have learned from that. They will continue to do that, to really keep things tight and trim and I know myself when I went through and I saw all these multiple subscriptions that I had started and then forgot about or wasn't using and thought, well, maybe one day if, right? In the meantime, so you can trim a lot of that and save a lot of money. So she was my very first guest before I started to before I realized that I had to make a commitment to this and I needed to have a guest every week. And then someone in marketing said, well, you need to also share your own information. Don't just have a guest every week. So in the beginning, I had guests. And then later, as of this year, I have guests every Thursday. Today's the exception as we do a retrospective of number 50. But then on Tuesdays, I share a bit of an experience win, quick tips. And then Thursdays, we have guests. So during this time, I thought, okay, I want to make it an official show. What do we call it? And one of my terms that I've come up with is celebrity customer experience. I believe that every business should deliver a celebrity customer experience to their people. And so I decided to name this show the Celebrity Customer Experience. And why? Because everybody deserves the same experience, the same pampering, the attention and treatment that a celebrity gets. And when you do that, your business will definitely thrive. So some of the other guests that we had was David Araya from the hospitality world. He was a GM of the Four Seasons here in Austin, Texas, and is since now working for a luxury hotel in Aspen. He traded Austin for Aspen, and he continues to do that. And David really shared a lot of the values. He worked many years for the Four Seasons organization, and it was very clear that their goals were keeping the customer in mind, but that they also took care of their employees. And so they really led a model of what I'm calling EX to CX. They made sure that they invested in their people. They trained their people. They educated their people about who they are, what they value, what's important to them, what they stand for, their core values. And their employees then were able to live into that and exemplify that for every customer that came and stayed at the Four Seasons Hotel. Now, we were at a time of uncertainty. This was early on as well. And the key takeaway from David was don't stay stagnant. This is definitely a time of uncertainty. And I would say even now to everyone, we're definitely on the other side. We're slowly getting to that point with vaccines now everywhere. But he said, don't remain stagnant during this time. Use this time to learn, to grow, and master your craft. And I hope that everyone has done that. And I look forward to hearing from others. And if you're watching on LinkedIn or Facebook or YouTube, you can comment right now in the comment thread what you did during this time to grow your craft, to learn your skills. And if you're with a company where you have employees, what happened during that time? How did you use that time to educate them? And if I have a comment here, I can highlight it live in the live show. But if you're listening on Clubhouse, we'll come back and talk about some of that. Another one of my guests was Roger Bodwin. He's a restaurateur for many years, really led the example of how to empower your people and create hospitality, the warmth, not just hospitality in terms of hotels, but hospitality of taking care of your guests, taking care of your people, having that warm generosity. So that's something definitely, continue. That's something that should be the underlying theme of why employee experience leads to customer experience, leads to increased revenues, ratings, reviews, repeat customers, referrals, you name it. Another restaurateur talked about building confidence with their customers. And then we had some people also from even the customer experience world. Bill Stykos, who's amazing. He really exemplifies how both customer experience and employee experience in a business is really imperative in order to take us to the next decade as we're going through these changes and coming out growing through, not going through, but really growing through this pandemic and this time together. So Dennis Wakabayashi, amazing. incredible CX expert, talk about how do we deliver that. So he really works with supply chain. And it's one thing to have an idea, but what are the things, the touch points that we as a customer go through? What do we see? Whether it's at the front of a counter or something in the store, all these things, pieces are done. He's involved in producing those things. We also had Lorena Acosta. I don't know if she's with us here today, but she is very big on LinkedIn and now building a name for herself here on Clubhouse. Lorena is all about personal branding and clarity on who you are and what you offer and how you help your ideal clients by really speaking the language of your audience. And that's how you attract your ideal customers. Lorena is brilliant at that. And she shared a lot of wisdom. And I just want to mention to everyone who, again, is either watching either live or the replay or those on Clubhouse, I invite you to go back to my account, my profile on LinkedIn, and you can watch any of these live streams that have been recorded. And they're every Thursday on my LinkedIn, which is Jill Raff, and it's EX number 2 CX expert, EX to CX expert. That's my LinkedIn profile. You can find it, or probably just under my name. So just moving forward to a couple of other, some great takeaways, and then we're going to have a shorter live stream today and go back to Clubhouse where we can engage in great conversation around all these topics. So again, if you're watching this live here, join us in Clubhouse as well. The club name, the room name today is Celebrity Customer Experience Takeaways. So in promising you that, Amanda Laux was here a few weeks ago from the hospitality industry. She worked a lot with Ritz-Carlton, and it was very, very interesting to just hear about how what she does now at the Marriott in Beverly Hills is largely based on what she learned at the Ritz-Carlton, and how setting that tone for your employees ensures that you're going to have empowered employees, something that I talk about a lot in my process and when I work with clients. And it's important that you hire correctly, because you have to start out on the right foot by having the right people who are in alignment with your values, the same Sorry, some tech problems here, Wi-Fi problems. So I'm gonna close out the room, the live room on LinkedIn, YouTube, and um, Facebook. And thank everyone for joining today. If you're watching the replay, please leave comments and tag me. Next week, we'll have a special guest, actually, my mom, who is an owner operator of McDonald's with my father, McDonald's number 150, the fourth year of McDonald's Corporation's beginning in 1959. And we're going to learn some goodies from her about what business was like then, starting it out, and customer experience, employee experience, and thinking about how that's applied today. Today, she's an artist. So that should be an interesting conversation. So I invite everyone to join me next Thursday for that interview. She's also here on Clubhouse. So a quick little outro, and we'll say goodbye, and look forward to opening up the stage on Clubhouse. Thanks again for joining.